Hello everyone, welcome to a new tutorial presented by the SHR TV. In this tutorial, we're going to see how to modify the X and the Y axis. Now, before we start, we need to come out with certain problems that we've initially had in the previous tutorials. But before continuing, we need to know again that this statement here with the sharp sign here is going to be considered as a comment. So everything in GNUplot which have sharp sign at the initial point is going to be considered as comment. So when I press enter, nothing is going to be done. So this is a comment considered in GNUplot platform. Now the next thing is that I'm going to try to plot one, or I'm going to try to plot the function x as such. When I plot the function x, I have the straight line y is equals to x. But the problem is that I don't have, in our normal mathematics textbook, we see that there is an origin line which is in this direction and there's another origin line in this direction. So this line, which is going to be flowing from 0 here to all this other point here to 0 on the other side here, is going to be the x0 axis. So that's the usual x-axis as we know. We already also have this y0 axis here. So we are going to know how to modify this axis in our GNU, to add this axis in our GNUplot. Now, the first thing, in order for you to place the x0 axis and the y axis, or in order for you to demodify the axis, just come to this point here. Another thing to tell you, a simple method for you to learn GNUplot is to first start with the different toolbars which are up here. Now, in the first case, we started with this toolbar with the plot, and where we had the different ranges. Now we are going to work with this toolbar axis. In this toolbar axis, we have different options inside. We have the auto scale XY, which we are not going to use. The no scale XY, we are not going to use that one, and this one too. So this one, this ticks is to write the different names, but you're not going to use that because they are not used as conventional mathematics options. In your mathematics textbook, if you want to plot something, realize that you need some specific things, and this specific thing is what you are going to see in this tutorials. So the X range and the Y range, we have already seen that before. The X label is how to label the X axis, the Y label is how to label the Y axis, and all that. So we have the show axis label 2 when you want to see it on the command line, and then you have this different part, XY0 axis on. So I want to, in order for you can easily come here and you can press here, you have set 0 axis. You have, when you press set 0 axis there, it's going to set, and if I plot 1, you have the 0 axis which is shown to you. So this is a simple method, but I don't usually like using the toolbar because they are difficult to use. When you code, it's easy to enter your different coding with their different precise method. So let's go back again. We start on setting. We unset the 0 axis. Now we start by coding. We are going to set 0 axis. So when we set our 0 axis, we will now plot. We are going to also, I initially told you, when you want to plot something inside GNUplot, it's always good to place ranges. So we are going to enter our ranges. So X range, the X range, we enter it. Our X range is going to start from, let's say, -10. It will end to at 10. We have the X range. So invalid X range because we didn't place the word set. So we set now X range. We enter. Now also set the Y range just by pressing the top arrow here. In order for you to move through your scaling, through your code, you just press on the top arrow or the bottom arrow, which have here. So you have X range. Now go delete this, place Y range. I want that my X range and my Y range to be similar as such. Then I want to plot now this. I'll start from -10 to 10 as such, and now I want to plot the number 1. I have this. So you have this graph. So I've set my x range, I've set my y range. You have now the zero axis which are being shown. The zero axis, you have this line and you have this line. So see, it is much more precise. If I want to plot the function now, let's say I want to plot the function x squared. So my function x squared, let's say I go to plot. In order to write squared here, you write x and you place double asterisk as such, as you are going to see in functions later. So you press that, you see that this is much more visible and beautiful. So you have your x, you have your respective zero axis, and you have this beautiful graph which is being shown to you. Now let's come back again and we try to modify, because when we see our graph, you see that the x0 axis and the y0 axis are dotted. For us to modify, we are going to modify them in an indirect way. So let's see how to modify it. In order for us to see the properties of the x0 axis and the y0 axis, we are going to use show zero axis as such. So show zero axis is going to tell you the properties of x0. So x0 here is drawn with LT. This is one property, and it's another property, and it's the last property. The x0 this is off. The y0 is drawn with this property. So I want to change again this property. If I want to change this property to bold, what I'm going to do is that I'll copy this line, I'll copy the clipboard, I'll paste it here. When I paste it here, I come here, I write set. So this is an indirect way I usually use in order to modify the x0 axis and the y0 axis. When I write set there, I come again here, I remove is drawn with, I just leave LT, and so x0 axis, I have LT0, line this and that. These are the different options. This is how I want to change. So I'll come here again and then I remove this. So now when you have this, these are the different options. Now I'll go again and I press enter. So I will still plot my my graph x squared. So you have your graph. I didn't modify the x0 axis. The x0 axis is similar. So now let's try to modify the x0 axis. To modify the x0 axis, what we are going to do is to come back to our initial code and then change these numbers. We are going to first try changing the 0 here. Yes. Now we instead place, at that point of 0, place 1 and see how it's going to work. So we still plot our x squared. You see now that when I change my LT0 to 1, you have a bold line which is formed, and this is what we see in mathematics. Now you come back again, you want to change your y0 plot, your y0 here. In order for you to change the y0 plot, I'll just come again on this line, I'll copy all this, I come here, I paste here. When I paste here, I just come behind at the end and then I set. When I set, I come here, I remove all drawn with this. Now I come and I write here 1. So I write here 1. So when I write there 1, I press enter and then I draw the same plot. You see that here the y0 axis is still a bold. If I want also to modify, I want them to be different again, I can change the different numbers here with my my wheel. If I change here with 1, or I change here with 2, delete, I change here with 2, what is going to be produced? I plot again the same graph. You see that nothing has really changed. But let's say I want to change the other one, this -1 and this 0 here. I want to change it. I want to change -1 here to 2. So this is line, I want to change this to 2. So I plot again the same graph. You see that when I change it to 2, the direction, the color on the x0 has changed. So this is why I like to use the show. When I use my show 0 axis, what I see here, I usually modify it. I use it as a properties that I will modify in order to draw my plot. So from here we've seen the how to modify the x and the 0 x axis and the 0 y axis, and how to place it on your plot. So you have your beautiful x squared graph, and you have your y0 axis, you have your z0 axis as shown here. Now let's say you want to label the plot as x axis and y axis. If you want to label the plot x axis as y and y axis, just come here and you write here axis. You have the word here label. You have the word here label. Now label, you can use now the set. You can still come here on axis, you can write set this one. You have set label, you have this. What you want to label, I want to label x axis. So offset this, I'll set this at position 1 and 2. So the problem comes because I've initially placed my set here, so I will move this set and then I do. So when I do this, I come again on my code and I see here it is x axis drawn, which is labeled down here. Now if I want to label y axis set, I will still use set y label. Now when I want to enter the string, it's always good to enter the string in different programming language with quotes. So I'll enter the string here, I'll say y axis. So when I enter y axis, I just enter, I come back again on my graph, you have y axis given here. But the problem is that your x axis, you have plotted your graph as such. This is your graph you have plotted, but the word x axis is not coming here, it's not coming on this line, and y axis is not coming on this line. To do that, we are going to involve in the next part of our tutorial, which is going to be arrows. But here we've seen how to set the different axes. We've seen how to plot when we have the different plot. In order to set the axis, you can easily come on this. You leave these other ones here because they are not mostly involved in mathematics, and you involve with this x range, y range, z range, and all this. And I initially told you that it's always good not to forget to place, always start by setting your x range and setting your y range in your code. After setting the different x range and setting the y range, you can plot with a domain. After plotting the domain, you can now involve your different function, this function that you want. If I want that's x squared, I'll write this. So this will mark the end of our tutorial on modifying the axis of our function. Thanks for your kind attention.